Hey there, welcome back to the channel. This is Emily from Smart Edition Academy. Now, I'm going to try to keep this nice and short and sweet so we can dive into the lesson material and start studying, but I did want to tell you a few things about myself before we went ahead and did that. The first is that I am not an educator, I am not a teacher, and I am not a subject matter expert on English, math, science, or reading. I actually work in marketing here at Smart Edition Academy. We thought it would be a really good idea to actually go through the diagnostic testing process, identifying our weaknesses, and actually actively studying those weak topics and going through our process that we recommend to pre-nursing students every day that to help improve their score. So we wanted to go ahead and put ourselves to the test and our content to the test. So I'm going to specifically be working on grammar today, primarily because it's been about 10 years since I've been in school. And English is not my first language. It's actually my second. So I've always struggled with grammar in general. And there hasn't been anyone around in the last 10 years to correct my grammar. The other thing too is I've always struggled with like spelling and kind of like the rules of grammar. So I'm really interested to take this test and see how well I do. I'm not feeling 100% confident about it, not gonna lie, but the grammar section of the HESI A2 does test you on all 5 parts of speech, prepositions, conjunctions, multiple meaning words, spelling, capitalization. So it has a little bit of everything. We did ask in our HESI study group what was the number one section that they regret not studying more for. And I feel like it was tied between grammar and reading because a lot of people said you assume that it's easy and it's not. So that's another reason why I wanted to personally challenge myself with this particular section because it does, in fact, kind of sort of sound easy, but I have a feeling that people cannot be wrong. It's actually a little harder than we think. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take the diagnostic practice test. It looks like we've got 50 questions in 50 minutes. Okay, I don't have any time to waste. So I'm going to go through each of these questions. Please ignore my very honest commentary. I'm being completely honest, completely blunt. I'm not holding anything back. Again, I am not a subject matter expert. So I feel like as we get into more and more complicated topics, I might be struggling a little bit here. So again, I don't have an answer key. I'm not cheating. I'm taking this as myself. And then we're going to study as myself. And we're going to see if the process of identifying your weaknesses, watching videos, retesting yourself, and if that actually makes a difference in the process. So let's get started. Multiple meaning words. I don't know, do you capitalize of? I'm not sure. I guess we're going to find out in a little bit. There should be a column of. I had to read that one because I almost picked this one, but I realized that this is colon, not comma. Two. Well, this is tricky. Would team be considered a noun? Okay, I'm going to go with 2, but I think there's 3. With this, you definitely have to read the question and you definitely have to pay attention to the answer choices because I've already noticed there's already been like 3, 4, maybe even 5 questions that I almost picked the wrong one just because I'm trying to kind of do this quickly. And a lot of the question answer choices look similar. So you really have to like read and focus and like read what it's asking you and then go through each choice and then you can eliminate as needed. But guys, like the grammar section is no joke. And that's one thing that people say all the time in the free HESI study group, which is linked in the description below. But people say all the time, I should have studied English, grammar, vocabulary, and even reading more. Like I spent so much time on math, chemistry, A and P, and I totally did not spend any time on the other subjects, and it actually caught me really off guard. So taking this, I'm telling you guys, like for sure, you want to take this, you want to see what you need to learn more of, you want to see what you need refreshers of, and there is no shame. Like I'm going to be the first person to admit it right here on YouTube. I don't remember what a modifier is. I don't know the difference between a parallel sentence and a complex one, but you know what? That's why we're studying. That's why we're taking this test and we're going to learn and we're going to revisit and then I'll know it tomorrow. That's all we can do. Okay, so let me keep taking this test. Okay, so now let's see how I did. Finish test section. Okay, okay. I got an 80%. Okay, I'll take that. Interesting. Okay, and you see, this is what is so awesome about taking one of these tests. I know that they take a little bit of time, but it's really, oh, interesting. I didn't do that well in capitalization. It's just really interesting because here I got a pretty decent score, but you can see there are definitely areas that I did not do so hot on, like pronouns, didn't do great. Nouns, did not do well. Modifiers, misplaced modifiers, and dangling modifiers. There was like 3 or 4 questions on these, and while I know what a modifier is, I'm not gonna pretend like I knew what a dangling modifier was. The sentences were very awkward, and I just took my best guess, so I got a 40%. But look, if I study pronouns, modifiers, nouns, and if I spend some time on subject and verb agreements, I can probably get another few questions correct, and then I will probably get like an 85 or a 90. So now I know exactly what I need to study. So I'm probably going to start with pronouns since it's the place that I did the worst on, and then I'm going to focus on modifiers. So I'm going to study those 2 sections first. I'm going to do some practice questions at the end of my study session to see if I get a little bit better of a hang of it. And then in a few days, I'll revisit this and study again. So with that being said, let me go ahead and start studying pronouns. I'm actually a little surprised. I thought that I would have did better on pronouns, but those questions were definitely really tricky. So let me go up to, okay, so here you see there's a lesson on modifiers. I very clearly need to go through this lesson. And then under grammar, here is one on pronouns. Okay, so this is about studying with me. So I want you to go through this lesson with me, and hopefully you can learn something from it. So what I like to do when I go through this course is I like to go through and watch the video first. And then I like to go through the lesson. And then I like to go through the flashcards and then the practice tests. So I'm going to go ahead and press play on this video that comes with the course. Smart Edition Academy's HESI online course comes with over 100 videos. And so pretty much what you will see is that most lessons have either 1, 2, or even up to 3 videos that go over the content material. This is really great for auditory and visual learners. I have even listened to these like while driving in my car. They're so convenient.
A pronoun refers to or takes the place of a noun. In this lesson, we will go over the purpose of pronouns and their roles in sentences. Let's get started. In a sentence, a pronoun acts as a subject or object, or can show possession. Subject pronouns are I, you, he, she, it, we, and they. Object pronouns are me, you, him, her, it, us, and them. Possessive pronouns are my, mine, your, yours, his, her, hers, its, our, ours, their, theirs. I'll explain in a moment why there are 2 options for some of those possessive pronouns. In simple sentences, subject pronouns come before the verb, whereas object pronouns come after the verb. And of course, possessive pronouns show ownership. Here are some examples. She forgot her coat. The subject is she, the possessive is her. I lent her my coat. The subject is I, the object is her, and the possessive pronoun is my. Now, you're probably thinking that second sentence sounds a bit repetitive, and you're right, which is why for some possessive pronouns, we have another choice that allows us to shorten the sentence. I lent her mine. When that sentence follows the first one, she forgot her coat, there is no doubt that the speaker is using the word mine to refer to coat. You may get confused as to when to use I or me in a sentence. Let's clear that up with a couple of examples. John and I went out. This is the correct way of saying it. You wouldn't say, John and me went out. Why? Well, the words John and I are the subject. I is a subject pronoun, and if you look at the chart again, you'll see that me is an object pronoun. Therefore, you would not say, John and me went out. Here's a way to test this. Can you say, me went out? No, but you can say, I went out. Here's another example. Johan took Sam and me to the show. You wouldn't say, Johan took Sam and I to the show. That's because Sam and me are the object of the sentence. Me is an object pronoun, while I is a subject pronoun. Let's move on to relative pronouns. They connect a clause to a noun or pronoun. Here are some examples. Who, whom, whoever, whomever, whose, that, and which. Let's take a look at relative pronouns in sentences. Steve Jobs, who founded Apple, changed the way people use technology. The clause who founded Apple tells us more about Steve Jobs, the subject of the sentence. This is the movie that Emily told us to see. This is another pronoun. So is that. They both refer to the word movie. Pronouns refer to general or unspecified things. Other examples are that, anyone, something, what, everything. Here are some examples.
I don't know if you're still with me and if you're watching this, but I have to tell you that my mind was blown just now watching these last few minutes. I totally forgot all of these rules, and I'm really glad that I'm watching it now, because when I was taking that practice test, I definitely was not counting my, I, or mine, this or that, or what or everything. I was really only looking for words like their, them, his, her, she, he. And I wasn't looking at any of these other relative pronouns. So that's why I did so badly. If they would have asked me a few more questions on that, I would have gotten a totally different score. So I'm really glad that, and I'm taking a bunch of notes here in my notebook, but I'm so glad that I'm watching this now. And now I feel really confident, like that simple error could be fixed. And next time I answer some questions about this, knock on wood, I'm going to do so much better.
Here are some examples. What is that? There is something over there. Does anyone have a pen? Remember, pronouns replace nouns to help avoid repetition. A pronoun refers to a specific noun. We call that noun the antecedent. Let's see pronouns and antecedents in action. John Hancock signed the Declaration of Independence. He signed it in 1776. He refers to John Hancock, and it refers to the Declaration of Independence. It's important to be aware of unclear antecedents in sentences. Here's an example. Take the furniture out of the room and paint it. It's very unclear what should be painted. Is it the furniture or is it the room? The speaker will need to clarify, or else he or she will have a home decor disaster. Now let's talk about antecedent agreement. A pronoun should agree in gender and number with its antecedent. Singular pronouns include I, you, he, she, and it. Plural pronouns are you, we, and they. Pronouns he, she, and it replace masculine, feminine, or neutral nouns. Please note that for the sake of this test, assume that nouns referring to people will either be masculine or feminine. Let's take a look at an example. Students should do their homework every night. Here, the plural pronoun there is referring to students. When an employee is sick, he or she should call the office. Here, the singular pronouns he or she are both referring to a single employee. Let's review. A pronoun takes the place of or refers to a noun. In sentences, pronouns serve as subjects or objects, or they show possession. The word a pronoun refers to is called the antecedent. A pronoun must agree with the antecedent in number and gender. For the sake of this test, please assume that the pronouns referring to people are either masculine or feminine. That's it for our lesson on pronouns.
Okay, I feel like I have a really good understanding of this now. Now I'm going to continue to take notes, but I'm also going to read through this lesson, answer any practice questions that come up. Okay, let me see here. And so what I really like is that you can actually listen and pay attention to the lesson material. And then I like that you can kind of go back through the written material and take notes of what you didn't get a chance to pay attention to. And I don't know if anyone else, let me know in the comments below if you guys are like this, but I have a hard time writing, remembering, and listening. If I try too hard to focus on remembering everything, I'm realizing, because I'm so focused on listening and scribbling, then I'm like, okay, I scribbled a bunch of stuff, but I have no idea. So I like that this gives me an opportunity to consume the content, and then I can come back and write my notes. I can go back and find it in the video and then just kind of reteach myself. But it allows my brain to kind of relax and just be a sponge for once, which really makes things significantly easier. And I like that the same examples that they gave in the video are also in the text, so that way, I don't know if anyone else goes through this, but I sometimes notice in education, they'll give you one example and it'll be really simple, and then you'll go to the textbook or the homework or the quiz or whatever, and then the examples have nothing to do with the examples you were just shown. And I'm like, what planet are you living on? Because that is not at all like what we just went through. So this actually helps me a lot greatly to be like, okay, yes, she forgot her coat. I lent her mine. She left it at school. I had to get it the next day. I can now, listening back to what the teacher was saying in the video, now I can go back and say, okay, exactly. Like, what was the subject? It was I, and the subject was her. And what was the possessive pronoun here? It was mine. Like, that makes so much more sense to me to be able to see it like this. I love this. Did you know pronouns can sometimes refer to general or unspecified things? No, I did not. That's why I got a 33% and did not do well. I would have gotten at least 2 or 3 more questions correct if I knew that. What is, like, this question? I wouldn't, what is this? What is that? There is something over there. I would have never thought that there was a pronoun in here, like, at all. I would have said 0, which is what I did on the practice test. And I know that you guys hear my notifications, my phone and everything going off. You got to remember to be really strict and diligent and respectful of your time when you're studying. Treat it like a job. I tend to put my phone on silent. I typically actually don't even have my email up or anything, but you know what? It happens. I'm sorry, I forgot. But I'm absolutely ignoring it. And that's the number one thing that I can recommend that you do too, because the minute you start responding to someone and you start having like a full-blown conversation, like, forget about it. You're not wondering about pronouns anymore. You don't care about the dangling modifiers. So protect your time and protect your focus and protect your, I would say, like, guard your studying time and your studying schedule with everything that you have. Okay. Innocent agreement. Okay. Okay, so what did we essentially learn in this lesson? We essentially learned a pronoun takes a place of or refers to a noun. And see, that technically was what got me tripped up. I always thought a pronoun was like, yes, referring to a noun, but I also kind of thought, I think I was getting confused, a proper noun and a pronoun confused in my head. So when I was seeing it on the practice tests, I just totally like spaced out on that. So again, like, this is a really humbling experience for me. I would have never thought that this was something that I had to study, and I'm actually very glad that this was pointed out to me. The role of pronouns in sentences is as subject, object, or possessive, and a pronoun must agree in number and gender. Okay. So I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of this. I'm not going to say that I'm an expert, but I do want to just take a few practice test questions and I want to see how I do. I want to see how I do and if I'm able to, nope, that's not what I meant to press. I want to see how I do with a few practice test questions on pronouns, and I want to see if I can get my score better than a 33. So let me go quiz myself and keep studying. Okay, so I'm going to take a few a few of these questions from the practice test bank. This is all about pronouns. As you can see here, there's like practice test questions divided by subject matter. So I will definitely be returning to do modifiers here in a little bit, but I did want to get some practice without looking too much at my notes while it's still fresh in my mind. And I believe that I have a really good understanding of what I've learned. But I'm being honest. If I'm being honest, I feel a little iffy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little nervous. So I'm gonna go through probably like 5 or 10 of these and just see how I'm doing. So I'm just going to take these questions as in a little sample size and see if I do better. And then what I'm also going to be doing is after I look at like say modifiers, and then I believe I needed to look at, what was it? It was nouns, pronouns, modifiers, and there was one more. I'm going to go on my account and see what was the other subject, but I'll spend some time studying all of them. Today and then in a few days and then probably before the weekend and then maybe like on Sunday night I'll retake another practice test just specifically on grammar, and I'll be interested in seeing if I can do better than an 80 and if I got improvements on any of those like 4 areas that I didn't do so hot on. And that's all that really you can do. It's basically just take a test, identify your strengths and your weaknesses, study your weaknesses once, twice, actively recall, actively practice, and study it again some more, and then retest yourself and see how you're doing. Oh, goodness. Okay. If I'm being honest with you, I'm really appreciative of all of these practice test questions. I'm not trying to hate, but when you think about studying a pronoun and then you get these questions, I'm like, wow, it like seems so much harder. Like I'm actually like a little nervous and intimidated, even though there's no risk here. Like this is just for me and my betterment. I'm a little nervous. Okay, so let's see. What is the role of the pronoun she is in a sentence? She's the subject. Yay! I got it right. I got a little nervous. Okay, she is the subject pronoun. That's what I thought. Okay. Which of the movie titles contains a pronoun? Rear Window. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about with these and my confusion with pronoun and proper noun, and then how these questions try to get you tripped up. So I don't think it's A. I don't think it's B. C uses a proper noun to identify Harry. And then D is very vague. It just says the man. So technically, the man. Oh man, wait, now I'm confusing myself. Is the man? Well, oh goodness gracious. Okay, I think it's D. Let's see. Oh, okay, yes. Oh, it's D, but it had nothing to do with the man. It had everything to do with who. Okay, so this goes back to it being a relative pronoun where the lady was saying it's like whom, this, that, and I totally missed that. I was still really concerned about the gender in the sentence, and I totally did not see the word who. Okay, so I need to spend some more time on this for sure. Select the correct word to complete this sentence. It's exciting to watch the nation rebuild. It's there in these. Okay, this was on my practice test question. I don't know if you guys remember it, but I actually had a hard time answering them. I knew that it wasn't these, and I kept reading it to myself. It's exciting to watch the nation rebuild its economy, or it's exciting to watch the nation rebuild their economy. So I'm not going to say there. I'm pretty sure that it's A or B. So with the apostrophe, it's possessive, and it is. So I think that it's A. Nation is a singular noun, so the pronoun that it refers to should be singular possessive pronoun. Okay, well, that's actually a very good point. If I would have just looked at the word nation, that would have narrowed down these answer selections quite a bit, and I would have saved some time. So again, I'm appreciative of going through these. They seem like simple questions, but they're not as simple as they look. But the answer is right there. You just need to know what you're looking for. So I definitely need to keep studying this so that way I can get better at this, because you guys see I've only answered 3 or 4 questions and we're like 5 minutes into this. So I need to be getting faster at this, and I need to build more confidence. So Do I need to spend some more time studying? Yes, because my confidence is not there right now. Which word in the following sentence is a pronoun? The three executives met to discuss a positive merger of their companies. The three executives of their. No, three just says how many there are. Okay, it's there. It's going to be there. Okay. Select the pronoun that cannot be used in the following sentence. Blank quote is so warm. It wouldn't be hers because it's a singular item. Therefore, it has to be a singular pronoun. We just learned that in the other question. Therefore, the first three answers would work. This one does not because it's plural. Hers cannot be used to modify a noun. Okay. What part of speech are the underlined words? My boss asked me to work late, so I won't be able to go to your party. Pronouns. One thing that I did learn in the lesson that I think I already said was a learning moment for me. I didn't consider I, my, me, mine, you, we as pronouns, and apparently they are. So now reading this again, I know that that was just covered in the lesson. But if you would have asked me this 20 minutes ago, I definitely probably would have totally got that wrong and not said pronouns. Select the pronoun that can be used in the following sentence. I recognize two people, one of whom I had worked with before. Okay, so I know that's not A or B. I recognize two people, one of them I had worked with before. I feel like that's improper grammar, but I feel like that's how we would say it. Like, I feel like we would say them over whom, even though whom is probably right. And sometimes I think that that's what helps too, is like, because these are very finicky kind of questions, it definitely helps to be able to say it out loud and articulate it. I recognize two people, one of whom I had worked with before. I'm not going to lie. If you asked me to say the sentence, I would probably say them. I would not use the word whom, but I think whom is the correct answer here. I think that's proper grammar. The pronoun whom should be used as the object of the preposition of. Okay. All right, we're learning things. I definitely need to study this more. I am not going to act like I don't need to keep following this, studying this. Okay, I'm going to do one more question because it looks like I've had everything right so far. But again, like, if I have to be honest with myself, my confidence is not there. I definitely need to keep studying. Which word in the following sentence is a possessive pronoun? That's our new house. Okay, it's either that or our. Well, our refers to, like, it belongs to, it's our. Our. Our is the possessive pronoun showing ownership of the noun house. Okay. All right, so there's about 22 more questions. I'm not going to go through and answer all of them now. But this was good for me to do because I definitely learned a lot and I got lucky on a few of these. And again, I think I've articulated it a few times already. Like, my confidence is not 100. If I had to retake this under pressure, I probably wouldn't do so well. People would probably also think that I'm crazy for talking to myself, but no, I think that this was good. This was productive. So I only had about 30, 45 minutes to study before my next engagement that I had to do. But I definitely feel like I learned something. I know what I need to focus on for grammar. So now I'm going to take a look at my calendar and see what the rest of my week is looking like. And I'm actually going to plan out another time to come back to pronouns. I'm going to take some time to look at modifiers. I'm going to take some time to look at nouns, and then I'm going to take some time at the end of the week to retake a test on the grammar section and see how I do in those three areas, and then what else I could work on. And that's it. And then I'll feel a lot better prepared, and I'll just keep reviewing those subjects until I am testing that I'm getting the majority of them right. So thanks, guys, for joining me today while I studied for the grammar section, specifically pronouns. It was great to feel like I had someone with me. If you want to take a free practice test, there's a link in the description below. Smart Edition Academy also offers this really great HESI study boot camp. It's like a do it at your own pace boot camp that you have access to for free for 30 days. It has literally everything that you need to know to study for the HESI A2. It has like a study planner. It has information about how to create your study schedules. It talks about test taking anxiety. It talks about what to study for math, for A&P, for chemistry, for grammar, for vocabulary, really all of it. And it's kind of like a roadmap. Like if you are studying for the HESI A2 and you don't know what you're doing, or you're about to start studying and you feel like you're all over the place and you need to like say woo-saw and get recentered, I 100% think you should take the time to do the study boot camp. Again, it's at your own pace. Everything is pre-recorded. It's really helpful. And I think that you'll really enjoy it. Again, link is in the bio. So I will see you guys next time. And if you want me to do more videos like this, if this was helpful for you, be sure to let me know in the comments. Thank you. Bye.